Welcome to About You. I'm Connie Hogan. Well, as we celebrate the holidays here in Bloomfield Township, our thoughts always turn to those less fortunate. In today's world, we know most people focus, or all the media focuses on children and all the homelessness and sadness about children, but sometimes we forget the other vulnerable communities, particularly the elderly. Here in Oakland County, there is a task force called the SAVE Task Force, which means saving adults who are vulnerable from elder abuse. I have with me as my guest Julie McCowan, who is one of the key people in the Oakland County Task Force, SAVE Task Force. Julie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I hope I characterized that right.
You did.
You have been with this task force. You didn't initiate it, but you've been with it for a long time, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so Julie, as we get started, I like to talk about people's personal life, where they went to college, and you were just telling me you're from Buffalo. So you brought the weather with you today, that's for sure, right?
Yes.
So you're from Buffalo, and then just go through some of that.
So I grew up in Buffalo. Actually, Orchard Park, New York is where I graduated from, and grew right next to the Buffalo Bills
the Buffalo Bills
Stadium.
Yeah.
And then graduated, and then ended up going to Pennsylvania and was there for a little bit, went to college there, but then I eventually went to Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee, while my husband and I were both in the service.
Oh, okay.
I went there and graduated with my undergraduate with social work degree.
Okay.
And then I did some foster care work. I worked for Judson Center. I did child protective issues. Then I decided I wanted to go to law school, and then I ended up going to Cooley Law School, graduated there, and then took the bar and passed.
Wow, that's a wonderful sequence of things. I have a similar, you just never know. You kind of roll with it, right?
Right.
So then you have been in practice here. I know your practice is actually in Farmington.
That's correct.
And you focus on elder care, which is relevant to all of it.
I do. And so my practice really is very niche down. I help adults, caregivers, so whether they're providing care for their adult, their parent that maybe has dementia or cognitive issues, or perhaps had a stroke and they need a legal decision maker. Or on the other side of it, it's typically an parent that is wanting to manage an adult child that perhaps has some mental health issues, and make legal decisions, medical decisions for them. So those are really my prime clients. I help them become guardian or conservator, and then they're able to manage their loved one's affairs.
So how did you first get involved with the SAVE Task Force?
So I first became involved with the SAVE Task Force many, many years ago, when it actually was still under another leadership. I clerked for Judge Elizabeth Pizzetti, and I was doing guardian ad litem work under the probate court, and clerked for Judge Pizzetti, and became aware of the SAVE Task Force. As I was working as a guardian ad litem, I became very passionate about elder abuse, preventing elder abuse. I had no idea that it was going on in Oakland County. It does, and it really opened my eyes. That's when I wanted to get involved with the SAVE Task Force. At that time, I maybe attended one or two meetings. It wasn't in full force. And then fast forward to my dear friend and mentor, Mayor Teresa Rich of Farmington Hills. She was asked to reconvene the SAVE Task Force by the county commissioners. The county commissioners requested a blueprint on elder abuse and elder issues, and one of the benchmarks was to reconvene the SAVE Task Force. So Mayor Rich, she led the SAVE Task Force for a while, I think maybe 2 years. Then when she became mayor, she wasn't able to manage it. She had asked someone else to take over the reins, not so much manage it, but take over the reins, the leadership. And I was hesitant at first. and talked to Ageways, who were the partners as well, and said, okay, I'll do this. I will facilitate the meetings and the direction.
I'm always amazed at what a small world it is. I worked with Teresa at GM. We were in the same department. Isn't that funny?
Okay, that is
hilarious.
So
funny when you're mentioning that, because yesterday we had a big GM like retiree event.
Okay.
And I was thinking Teresa wasn't there, so I was thinking about her this morning. And I'm thinking, because one of the other ladies is mayor of Allen Park.
Okay.
And she's mayor of a bigger city, Farmington Hills, and more complicated, I'm sure. So that is such a small world.
It is a small world.
But I did, when I was looking at some of the issues on SAVE Taskforce, I did see her name, I forgot. But so that was how it all came about.
That is how it came about.
So the current status, do you want to talk a little bit about where everything is and the challenges, and I'm sure there are.
So right now we meet monthly. Or we've been meeting, actually not monthly, we've been meeting every other month with the entire SAVE Task Force. My job really was to reach out to all of the community partners in Oakland County, the key people that touch and deal with elder abuse in all of the different forms and capacity, and made those connections with people. They started attending. So we have many partners. We have the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office, Special Victims Units. We have Adult Protective Services that's involved. We have medical, financial people as well. We all meet. And then if there's an actual issue, I'm contacted saying, okay, what do I need to do? And I'm really we're putting the people together to address the elder abuse holistically. So law enforcement might have an issue and they can do their part, but then they might need assistance or collaboration with Adult Protective Services. And so putting those people together helps everybody do their job to address the elder abuse. We've also created 2 subcommittees. So one subcommittee is the education and outreach. And so we are educating the public as well as other professionals what elder abuse looks like, the different formats, how to report it. And the other part of it is we are using the Michigan Attorney General's enhanced MDT, which is a multidisciplinary approach to elder abuse. So we are working on that in a case review committee. And so the person that's heading up that is Janessa Doolittle, and she is through the health department.
Okay.
She was on the child death review team. So she has some experience on that while we're rolling out and working on the case review team.
So you earlier said you had been surprised that there was elder abuse in Oakland County. Now, why was it? Just because it's a higher income area, or?
Yes,
kind of?
Yes. I thought it was a higher income. It's not something that you see.
You don't see it, no.
You do not see it, and I think that people, when it happens in a family, they don't really want to.
They want it to keep it private.
They want to keep it private and not address it, and then, because once I say what I do, people will say, oh, that happened to my great uncle. Oh, that happened to my grandfather. And they'll say, oh, but nothing ever happened. They never got the money back. They X, Y, and Z.
Isn't that crazy? There was so much talk about Britney Spears. I know she's not elder, but about the conservatorship and all of that kind of stuff. And now they're saying, she would have been better off to have stayed. I don't know if you follow that, but it's like, it's a very difficult issue because, I think she's a good example, though, of how, because her father, who knew, now he's being exonerated because it's like, he was really helping, even though he did get, a lot of the assets, whatever. But now she's kind of like spiraling or whatever.
Right. So she would actually qualify, if she lived in Oakland County, to be someone that we would address.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she's a vulnerable adult.
Okay, so that V in SAVE is vulnerable.
Yeah, she could be
That makes
technically. I mean,
sense,
I don't know all of Britney
Right, I
Spears'
know.
medical
I probably watch
diagnosis.
more. I'm retired, so I watch TMZ Live every
Right. So I don't know, but she definitely, when I mentioned people that have guardianships and conservatorships, one of the sets of clients that I help are parents of adult children that have mental health issues.
Oh, and probably addiction.
And addiction or mental health issues. And that's the population that I serve. Right, and I haven't been keeping up with the story as far as Britney Spears, but the conservatorship and the guardianship, there's always court oversight, more so in the conservatorship than a guardianship, but there's always court oversight at any time. Even the what we call the ward, so the Britney Spears could just write a letter to the judge saying, I want to have a court hearing because of X, Y, and Z, and then the judge actually has to have a court hearing to hear what they have to say.
I know on your own website there was this sentence that I think caught my attention when I'm looking at it, that is it like 85% of the problems come from family members?
Yes, that's correct. So it's 85% of not so much family members, but someone that they actually know.
Oh.
So it could be someone from their faith-based, someone like a pastor, someone from their church, I've even had a case where it was from someone that they met at a bingo at a senior center. So it's more typical for it to be someone that they know and they're in relationship with. Then, and also we have the scams. We also have the internet scams, the romance scams. So that's there's another type of elder abuse in that format.
That is huge.
Right, and so we have both, but it's more typical in my practice to see a family member or a significant other, perhaps that they met somewhere that's much younger than them.
Oh, that
advantage.
whole thing is just disgusting.
It is
all the way around. You know, I mean, it's just it's almost nauseating. 85%. So talk a little bit, without using names, of course, some of the examples, just to put it into perspective, if you could, of cases you've had where a durable power of attorney, that's what that would be.
Right, so durable power of attorney, sometimes you give the elderly person, or anybody really, an adult could have a durable power of attorney. They give this person the authority to manage their finances, and they go and they manage their finances. And while they're managing their finances, they put cash in their pockets as well.
Oh, like skimming it off.
Yes, they scheme it off. So what typically I will see in my practice is I'll have someone come and say, I think my sibling or my cousin or whoever it is taking advantage of mom or dad. And okay, they're the power of attorney. Then by Michigan law, you're allowed to see, if you can ask them, okay, let me see the power of attorney and let me see, depending on the power of attorney, what it states, let me see an accounting, let me see what you have spent, let me see what's going in and out. Same thing with a guardianship. If someone's going to file a guardianship or a conservatorship and allege financial exploitation, we go, okay, let me see the finances, let me see the bank statements. But what we really want to see, typically, what I see happen is the credit cards. I've had cases where it was a niece that used her uncle's credit card.
I see, yeah.
The uncle was in a nursing home on a ventilator, was bald, and the reason I'm telling this is for a point.
I get it, yeah.
So I looked at the credit card statements, and there were all kinds of hair care products. There were flights to Las Vegas. There were clothes from Shein.
At least she was using a discount.
I
No,
guess.
I'm kidding.
But I'm like, there's no way this person was, and no, he didn't say you could do this.
Wow.
Because a lot of people, oh, he would want me to have this, or he gave me the permission to do that.
Wow.
No, he did not. So that's very typical of what happens.
Okay. Yeah. You see, like, there's stuff in the news all the time about that, you know, about different things. But like you say, the ones that I see that stand out in my mind is like this lady in Troy. Oh, it was last year or so. She was an older person. It was a romance scam online, which I think the very same one. There have been different people. She gave them like, it was something like $800,000. And she never wanted to be publicized. Of course, she was embarrassed. I had the feeling maybe she was like non-English speaking. I don't even know that. But she had a lot of assets, obviously. And this person literally, and I don't think they ever got it back. They're getting better.
Very difficult.
They're getting a little better at tracing it to wherever, offshore, wherever, India or whatever. But no, they never got it back. And it's like, what can you even do? There really is no right.
Right, there is really not
in the
much
case like that
they can do. I know I always advise people to report it to the Attorney General's office, the police
just
department.
So they know, yeah.
And then they typically will report it to the FBI. And the FBI will collect that information. They don't necessarily resolve the issue or try to recover the money.
So maybe if there's different other people that come along, like in this case I mentioned, you know, then it would be more helpful. Then she would have at least the emails and stuff. They'd be able to see the IPC address, whatever, you know.
And then also coordinate with perhaps if there's other issues going on with her, perhaps medical issues, maybe cognitive decline, help her family perhaps get involved. But you're right, it's very embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
And really part of the SAVE Task Force moving forward with the case review team is to let the older person or the vulnerable person they have choices and self-determination about how they want to proceed. So they may not want to press charges, or they may want to, they may have a different way of resolving the issue for them. Because sometimes if we're going to court, whether it's a criminal case or a probate case, that's very stressful. And that could, that could diminish their life, diminish their quality of life. So we really want to listen to the elders and what they want.
I know, not to get to all this crazy TV, but like Dr. Phil has had so many of those. But I mean, it's really good, some of the shows, you know, about where people think, you know, you make a Facebook post, they say they're Tyler Perry, and this lady thought she was talking to Tyler Perry. One was Post Malone, and they had their children, and it's just fascinating to think people can do that, you know, can be that vulnerable and really dig their heels in with their families, like the ones that he had on a couple years ago.
I just read a book, and I'm Not Keanu Reeves, and it was a woman.
Oh, yeah.
Did you read the book?
I heard about it.
It's a really great book.
And
so I wish I could tell you the title and the author's name, but it was really great. And not only does she tell the story about how these people were saying they were Keanu Reeves, and they were dating and want to date her, but she explains the steps of, okay, how do you stop this? How do you prevent this? And really give some tools to everybody, because not only does that happen to elderly, it happens to everybody. It could happen to anybody.
It could happen to a 30-year-old, 20-year-old, and it does. I mean, it's like, and then, you know, in some ways it's worse, you know. Okay, so on top of all these big issues, you also, in your practice, your own legal practice, you have probate estate administration, probably the more boring part of your job, right?
It is very boring.
But sometimes you're probably glad that you're doing it.
Right. Typically it's usually people that I know or that were direct referrals. So I do probate administration in Oakland County. I'm particular about only doing Oakland County. I know the judges there.
Yeah.
Not that I know them, but I know their procedure, the protocol,
For
what
sure,
they
yeah.
what they expect. Familiar with their courtrooms. So I stick to Oakland County. So I do some probate estates, but my bread and butter are guardianships and
Is it?
conservatorships.
Okay, so that would be your main thing. So let me ask you this, how, just generally, and you might not know this and that's fine, but like how does Michigan, I guess, in the law, like with with this whole elder abuse issue, how do you think Michigan compares to other states? Is it a leader in the protection, or do you know?
I think there's some other states that are ahead of us, but we are definitely making progress. There has been some legislation that's been pending for a while regarding guardianships and conservatorships, and I don't believe that it's passed yet, but the Attorney General's office has the Elder Abuse Task Force. That's what the SAVE Task Force is using as our model to create the task force. We're adjusting it and making tweaks to fit our community, to fit Oakland County.
Okay.
But we are using that. And so I believe that Michigan is one of the leaders.
I would think so,
It's been, we're raising awareness and also addressing the abuse.
So do you think, like, in our area here, I just thought it was that Wayne County, I'm sure, I seem to hear a lot of stuff about, well, there's so much in Detroit. I mean, with everything, I mean, do they have a similar thing, do you know, or?
I believe that they do have not so much a task force, but there's some coordination between the prosecutor's office, probate court. There's a special, in Oakland County, it's only a special victims unit. That's where the elder abuse.
Okay, SVU. Okay.
Yeah. And in Wayne County, I believe that they have their own specific unit for the elder abuse.
So do you guys, like, I know it's Oakland County SAVE and all that, do they do fundraising? Do they do?
No, we have no fundraising, and what we have is the support of the county. And so we are technically housed under the Department of Health, for Oakland County, yes. And that's where Janessa Doolittle, who is my counterpart for the health department, she does a lot of the background work. It's part of her job.
I've heard the name, yeah.
Part of her job through the health department to do that.
Okay.
I am a volunteer, and so everything I do is on my own time.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And that can be a real big thing, a lot of time, right?
It is
a lot
of time.
That was my business too, in GM and certainly in recent times. So you're really dependent then on Oakland County, but it's not illegal for you guys to do it, probably.
No.
It's just that you don't.
No, we don't.
You don't. Okay, so are there any other issues you'd like to talk about that we haven't in regard to either your firm or the SAVE Task Force?
So one thing, not so much to talk about, but I'm really proud that we've established relationships with law enforcement.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask.
And public safety. And so how that came about was Sarah Green, who is over the Special Victims Unit in Oakland County Prosecutor's Office, she pulled me aside and she said, Julie, what you really need to do is you need to make contact with each and every chief of police
that's a good way
in
to do.
Oakland County.
Yeah.
Which I did.
That's a lot of chiefs of police, right?
So I started my hometown with Farmington Hills Police. They were extremely gracious and had an in-person meeting and said, yes, we are on board. Yes, we see this. This is the issues that we have. And the chief of police there said, I want you to contact this person, and kind of gave me a starting point to talk to the other chiefs of police. He said, and let them know that I talked to you and I'm in support of it. So then that started happening.
Isn't it funny? That's what I was saying before. It's like everything just kind of
Yeah, and then I was talking more and more to the chief of polices, and my name was getting out there. SAVE Taskforce was getting out there, and which was great because one of the issues I see is, okay, the police might be doing their job in this part. I might be doing the probate side. The adult protective services might be doing that, and there's no communication or collaboration, or little to none. And that's one of the purposes of the SAVE Task Force, is to get all the professionals kind of collaborating on the same page, working together in the best interest of that vulnerable adult or the elderly person. So then I was really working hard, I switched gears to adult protective services, and really wanted to get some contacts and some connections there. And lo and behold, just a couple months ago, we identified an adult protective services supervisor who said, I am the point of contact, and let's collaborate with all of the law enforcement.
Wow.
So that's rolling out, and that's been really one of my passions. And it took 2 years, but it's been wonderful. I'm pleased to know that we're going to be addressing.
Now, just briefly, we've got a few more minutes. How does Judson Center fit into? I can't remember. I've had, because I know Lenora Hardy as well, and she's the head, right, still, and she's been on the show actually.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I got to hear her back. But yeah, I can't remember.
So Judson Center, when we first moved here, I was a social worker.
Oh, yeah,
and so I worked as a social worker for Judson Center.
Oh,
I did
okay.
family group decision making, which was a family preservation program. I did that as a facilitator, an advocate, as well as the supervisor at Judson Center. The family group decision making program, it no longer exists, but it was substantiated child abuse cases in Oakland and Wayne County, and the family got together and created their own treatment plan, an intensive treatment plan, and we worked with the family for over a year to resolve those issues. And then I also worked in foster care as well, special needs foster care worker.
Wow.
So that's how
okay, so it kind of overlaps, but not totally. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, all these things kind of fit together, but it's amazing, and it's just so wonderful that these things exist, because, you know, we all go along, we don't really, number one, we don't have the need for it, and we don't know, and, you know, but then when you hear about it, it's just like amazing, because you never know when you might need it, right?
Right,
That's
exactly.
the thing.
We want to
don't
raise
know.
awareness.
Everybody. Well, thank you, Julie, and so much luck to you. And
Thank
you. You know, you're doing great things out there, and you know, you should be running for something just like Teresa, right? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Best of luck. And thanks for watching today.